All right. Welcome to Sharing with the Mindsets with Daryl King. And I got a very, very special guest here today. He's not with us live, but he's someone that I think is very special. And he's got a lot to share with us. And, I had waited till I got to see him. And I wanted to see if that he would come on Sharing the Mindset. And he so graciously brought on here. So he's coached and mentored agents across the country to build their business, probably in North America. He's been through the ups and downs of this industry, faced the struggles many of us know too well, and come out the other side by focus on mindset systems and building a business by design. So our topic today is sales to scale, master the mindset and strategy to turn every sale into lasting growth. So I'm going to welcome Ben Oosterveld. How do you say that, Ben? The last name?
Oosterveld.
Oosterveld. So let's give him a big hand, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Right?
Thank you.
Right. So we are live. We've got about 60 people here at the office, and I don't know how many are on air, whatever. But I'm really looking forward to today. So you're out in BC right now?
Yep, West Vancouver.
So he's in West Vancouver. He's looking at the ocean right now. They don't have the hot spell we have right now. So, that just depends where you're at. There's different things in different places. So you just got to adapt to whatever comes. And that's it, right? So let me ask you this, Ben. When you first got into real estate, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced trying to get your business off the ground?
So I'm a unique story because I was a business coach and a businessman before I became an actual agent. So when I became an agent, I actually thought I was coaching a bunch of real estate agents, and I thought, what would it be like if I actually started doing the job and showing them what to do versus telling them what to do? And I said, okay, we're going to niche fully into real estate. I let go of all my other clients at national contracts across the country with different companies and stuff. And I thought, we're going to go all in on real estate. And I had been a real estate investor. And so I knew about real estate. And to be honest, I kind of had a bit of a chip on my shoulder because as a real estate investor, you're dealing with all kinds of type of real estate agents. And I always thought like, man, I'm buying like sometimes 10 properties in one shot. And I'm thinking, man, they don't even send you a thank you card. And I always thought, man, if I ever become an agent, I think I'll do pretty damn good. So the hardest thing, because my context is a bit different than just a newbie. I was already training real estate agents, and I thought I'm gonna join. So I did. But I started a program at the very beginning called the Real Estate Launch Program because I needed to launch. And I said, look, you're going to have one chance in your life to watch me launch, and it's going to be one time, and you can do it with me. And then so I had about 10 agents on that. But the biggest problem I think I ran into was the bad advice that we got from experienced agents. And it's not that it's bad advice. It's the problem is the agent never asked a contextual question. So, Ben, you should do calendars. It's got me so much business. Or you should door knock. But what if I was an introvert? What if I was a writer? And so there was never any kind of like, where are you at? What advice is going to fit you? The advice was just, here's how you do it. This is how you win. And it was so random. So you literally had to navigate this advice coming at you. So I think that would probably be a challenge that we ran into, and I just had to kind of ignore it, to be honest, and try to think what's best for me and my people.
It's so true, Ben. And this is what I stress to everybody. You have to be careful who you listen to. If you look at CNN and all those companies, CBC, they just have so much bullshit and negativity out there every day that I wouldn't believe 90% of what they're saying. And it's the same as with sometimes people and coaches. They may mean well, but they don't know well, right? So I go, who's telling you this and how much business have they done, right? I was just telling them just before we got on here about putting in for sale signs, a right way and a wrong way, right? Because you put it the wrong way, you smash the sign, you can't get it in there. So talk to someone that has the right experience, had done the winning attitude, that has a track record, right? There's lots of great coaches. And that's when I went I said, hey, I love this guy. I got to have him on the show. So those that are listening today, take lots of notes. You'll all get a copy of this video here. So you all get to watch it time and time again, because you and I know both. And we only listen to one thing just a little bit. We only absorb maybe 1 or 2%, but it's listening to it over and over that you get to build and learn and grow from there. So what was the specific turning point where things started to click and you knew we're on the right path?
Well, I've been on a few different paths, but thinking for the real estate audience,
That's
um,
come up
I
to
think I think the thing is when it clicked. I feel like that happened, before I was in real estate. There's a lot of lessons. So I don't know if there's one. The thing is, though, the one thing I'd say is that people think working harder is going to help them in the long run. Working harder actually makes things good in the short term, but it doesn't actually solve scalability. You'll always run into a wall. Working harder means that you're going to get more clients, and more clients mean more admin and more time. And then you're going to get more clients until it breaks. So, working harder on its own without having systems, without having an assistant, and actually turning your hustle into a business, what happens is working harder actually becomes your downfall at one point. It's amazing at the beginning, but then you have to working more harder does not work because you burn out and you lose months and you stop doing those extra things like the little gifts when you see the buyers, having coloring books in your trunk for the kids and dropping off a little gift after a CMA, and all these things are gone. All that little extra stuff's gone because once you work hard, you start actually getting popular and getting business, but then you hit a wall and then it all breaks. So working hard is great, and then eventually it causes you to break.
systems is the answer, right? And it's
I
really
think,
smart and
yeah,
efficient.
thinking like a business owner. Yeah.
So you got to get out of the box and you have to figure out that you could work 14. Like when I first started in the business, I didn't know any better. I was working 7 days a week, 14
It's
hours a
important
day,
at the beginning.
right? So I didn't have any other skills or anything. That was it. And over time, you build up skills, you build up systems, and you build from there and you work on those systems and skills, right?
Yeah.
So you talk a lot about mindset. What's one mindset shift that really helped you go from struggling to build a thriving business? Because right now you were an agent, you went into coaching, you have a very good coaching program. What is that one mindset, if you can think of one thing that shifted you from here to go over here?
So definitely wasn't the big shifts didn't happen when I started coaching agents or when I became an agent. Shift happened when I was in rehab. I was in a drug rehab for 365 days. Um, Struggling, had an abusive childhood. So what happens is mindset, you just come out of these situations with such a low self-worth. And one thing is, I used to just prove myself by winning. And so I would just always be number one overall. When I was doing real estate investing, I bought 41 properties in 14 months. When I
Wow.
was selling office furniture, I sold $2.5 million of office furniture. Like the thing is, though, the mindset issue, though, that was cool because it made money. But what happened was it started really eroding my marriage, my kids, and my mental health. So I hated myself on the inside. So when you say mindset, I got 100 mindset shifts I've had just to get to normal. But I think if I was to leave something with agents today, I think you should judge. I think what it is this: how good are you when you're not at top energy? Now, we talk about transactions, sales, marketing funnels, lead gen, blah, 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 all this stuff. But if you don't have energy, when you feel good, how good are you? I know when I'm feeling good, what I do, I talk to strangers. Hey, how you doing? I joke around with them, I tease them. Don't even know who these people are. When I'm not feeling good, I isolate. And so we look at, if you want mindset, how much time are agents actually spending on building a life that makes them feel good on a daily basis? Because we're taught to grind our face off. Well, when your face is off and you're grinding like that, you're not happy. How good are you at the connection game? The referral game will never be built without connection. You'll never be able to manage staff. You'll never be able to actually tap into creativity. The cost of low energy is something that we should put as a pandemic in our industry because the highest skilled people are just sitting there completely tired and they're not at their optimal self. And I just believe they don't have systems. They're just trying to work their way to the top. So I think the mindset is how's my energy? Then go from there. What makes you feel good? Get rid of the marketing that doesn't align to you. If you hate door knocking, don't freaking door knock. If you like change your business to fit you, and then you wake up in the morning. Like I moved from Edmonton to West Vancouver so I could look at the ocean. It's a hell of a lot more expensive here. But man, I feel amazing here. That feeling needs to be one of your number one business planning tools. How am I going to feel good every day? Because when you feel good, you become abundant. When you feel tired and you don't feel good, you're beating yourself up, you're under lots of pressure, you will isolate.
It's
That's my mindset there.
no, it's so funny. I can tell people that where their mind is at, because if I don't see them around the office or I don't see any sales coming in, they're basically at home hiding like rabbits, right? So people, the fear, it's like deer in the headlights or a rabbit with headlights. They're frozen and they don't know how to move. And that's what I find, on the Toronto Real Estate Board right now. I think 60% of the agents haven't even done one sale this year, because this is not 1 year, 2 year. We're going into our third year of challenges. And normally you can go over a short period and get through it, but this is taking a longer time. So they just seem frozen and don't know how to move. So you spent 365 days in a rehab. I've never known anyone, my good friend Cheplack, he went 14 times to go through drug rehabilitations and stuff like that. Now he's, one of the greatest coaches. And so you to go through that 365 days, hard on the family, hard on everything. And you had to find a way to break out of that and overcome. So if it doesn't kill you, it can help you grow. So your mental toughness, that what you had to endure to get to that point.
Yeah.
And you find in a lot of sales that they had alcoholic, drug problems, family problems, and those things made them tougher, that they can overcome those obstacles. That selling real estate, helping people facilitate a sale, became easy. And it's all how you look at it,
Totally. Yeah,
right?
like I'm prepared to live in a van right now, Daryl. I'm prepared right now. As long as I got a relationship with my wife and kids, I could live in a van. I'm absolutely 100% willing to do that. So what could take me out? Nothing. Like when I understand that my wife's relationship with me and my kids, and I could help people, I want to help people, and I could help people from a van. Like I think that when you go through what you go through and go to the depths of darkness that I've lived in, you realize it's not so bad. And it's like nothing really can shake you. And yeah, of course I have bad days. And yeah, some shadows show up and I don't like myself on days. But overall, like what someone I lose some money, I'll get embarrassed. I might like these are like nothing compared to like just seems like baby talk. But that's because but everyone, Daryl, has a story and everyone has hiding it and understand they hate this part of their story, but it is the thing that actually makes you successful. And it does give you the love that. It's the contrast between someone's being scared to be embarrassed. Well, how about scared to live on the street and not eat and freeze at night? Compared to the two, it's damn good. Embarrassment, no problem. And I think we have to understand that. And so I don't want to make anyone feel bad because if they've had a good life, sometimes it makes them feel bad. I'm not, but there's small things in life that there's people that are worried a lot. There's anxiety, there's real problems, but those problems, as you work through them, they do make you better. They give you grit and perspective for sure.
I think you have to go through the school of hard knocks sometimes to understand that you can grow from that. Some people that, have had a very cherished life and an easy life don't understand. I always say I've gone through the University of Hard Knocks, and I've learned more from that than a lot of people that gone and got university degrees and stuff like that. Like you, I lived on the streets for a while, had some hardships. And
Mm,
even today, we still have hardships,
for
family,
sure.
friends, my just celebrated, or however you want to say, my father's passing a number of years ago. My best friend did the thing. As long as I got happy memories, he always taught me the good in things and not the bad in things. He used to say I could have $100 a year, thousands of dollars, and I'd be more happier. Like you said, I could live in my van and I'd be just as happy. That's those things are only materialistic things, and they don't real anything. And that's why I tell it doesn't matter whether you're the CAO or the janitor. Treat everybody equally. Doesn't matter if black, white, yellow, or anything, male, female, tall, thin, or whatever. Treat everybody the same. Treat everybody with respect, and don't judge the book by its cover, because we don't know what's going on inside with that person at that time, right? So with the market being so unpredictable right now, how are you personally staying focused and helping your people adapt into these changes? Because it doesn't
So
matter if it's Vancouver or Toronto, pretty much
mm,
worldwide, the market is unpredictable. So lots of
So I don't believe that. And this is the issue, okay?
like that
I
thought.
believe that
Love
I
that
think
thought.
we can create predictability. And I think the reason why we have unpredictable is because you've given control to the market. And you're like, oh, the market's changing. Yeah, that's great. And the thing is, the people in our world, we have 9 out of 10 people, like obviously more than 10 people, but 90% of our people have had massive years this year, like massive. They're all having banner years. Why? Because the focus is not on finding a client. The focus is keeping the client. And the focus is building aftercare systems that nurture these beautiful humans that decided to trust you with their real estate, their life, their family, their biggest investment. And then most agents just forget about them because they're too busy and they don't understand business. Where the money is at and where what you want is your lows are not as low if you can create an aftercare system that creates connection, not some BS automated bullshit email. We're talking about real aftercare connections, and it's got to be built out so someone else can run it. That can be done. Once that's figured out, your focus is never lose a client again. So let's just do the simple math. Let's get you to 300 transactions at a 10% referral rate. You're making 30 deals a year. What's that, $100 million in Toronto? It's crazy. But what I'm saying, it probably still 30 deals, you're probably looking at $500,000. And so it's crazy because if you drop, it's because you didn't take care of your base. You actually didn't put in passive marketing systems. This is our fault, not the market's fault. The other thing is, Daryl, is I deal with a lot of agents sell 10 or 12 houses. There's an absolute illusion in Toronto and Vancouver. They're like this. Yeah, I made 200 grand or I made 180 grand. Cool. How many deals did you do? 8? That's not a business. And the moment that market drops, you're screwed. You got to get to 20 sales to have some security. So instead of being the whims of the market, we create a predictable method and a system. But the biggest thing is focus on keeping your clients so you never lose them. And I'll say one last thing. Every single deal you ever do is stealing a client from another agent, except brand new buyers or investors. Because and that's the state of our market. Think about this. You want the biggest competitive edge as an agent? Build out something that keeps your clients and they never leave you. Think about shift your whole thinking to they never leave you. Think about it. Over time, you will have the craziest base of sales no matter what market. And in a hard market, they're going to say, hey, look, you're going to want to talk to that guy. You're going to want to talk to that guy. I remember when I was selling real estate, I grew in all the hard markets because I was the guy that would actually get the job done. You become the shining star during the hard markets. They're all looking for new agents. It's the best time ever. My agent couldn't do it. Hey, you got a guy? So you understand you got to prime that. So do I believe the market's unpredictable right now? Yes, because you created it. Do you believe that you can eliminate unpredictability? 100%. Your lows will not be as low and your highs will be high, but you got to keep those clients and nurture them. That's the missing factor. You can steal clients all day from everyone because they forget about them or they're just too busy to serve them.
I love that because that's what my business is built on. Past clients and referrals. I went up to buy some food in that up in Northwest Newmarket last night. And I met a friend up there and she was with me. And then we went, I said, let's go down to the lazy river, go for a walk and get some exercise, right? Because we got to take care of our health, number one. Without our health, we're nothing. So I went up there and then there's this thing, shop local, and there's a family there. And I'm looking there, they were talking and I wanted to get a picture of this thing, shop local and pride thing, whatever. So they said they're in their way and they say, hey, Daryl, how you doing? Right. And so they were my past clients. I sold their house on Tower Hill in Richmond Hill. I was in Newmarket. So they introduced me to, there was about, I think 9 of them. They introduced me to everybody that their niece, their godson and their cousin or whatever. So I ended up taking a group picture. I said, here's a group picture for all of you that you can remember for your rest of your life. I remember another one of my clients. There was, I think, 25 of them. And there was only one family member missing. I had them on, I sold them a great big condo. Now, Sam had passed away just earlier this year. Unfortunately, he was a very good friend and a good client. That was the only picture with the whole family. So, being able to give them that moment and sharing that moment with them is priceless. So, they said, oh, you did such an amazing job for us, right? And I said, yeah, I wouldn't want to be doing it today. You wouldn't get as much money, right? And that's the truth of it. But they said what I did was priceless. So they're telling their other friends and their relatives the same thing. So if they're the ones telling them, you're going to win business. So if you can do that every day, you're going to go a long way. Always give it 110% every time you get an opportunity. Go that extra mile, go that extra 2 miles, whatever it is. But do whatever it is. It's not about us, it's about them, taking care of them. So being predictable, if you work every day on your systems that Ben is talking about, you can predict what you're going to do this year, right? If you just do nothing, you can predict you're going to do nothing. Still got to do something every day to be predictable. So agents in this current market, what would you say are the top 2 or 3 things they should be focusing on right now? One is you just mentioned, which is, I think is incredible. And it's the best way is your sphere of influence in your past clients. What other 2 or 3 things that you would recommend, Ben?
Well, giving advice without context is a little lesson. If someone gives us advice and they don't ask the question of where you're at, they're not actually giving advice to help you. They're giving advice according to what worked for them. So let's have some discernment. So when you say, what advice would I give? It's hard to give blanket advice because there's such customized advice I would give. So let's give a couple avatars.
Okay, cool.
So first of all, there's 2 avatars. First, the really busy agent. There's only one thing to do is get your time back. And you need to hire. You need to hire help. You don't ever hire full time, always part time, always smaller tasks. I love 2 part-time assistants that have 2 roles. You never without an assistant that way. And you set it up and you have someone working paperwork and you have someone working from the aftercare systems. That's the number one advice I would say. And then you get your time back because you got to that busy place because you're an amazing agent that serves your clients. They trust you and you're the best of the best, but you didn't treat it like a business. So my advice is the first thing to do is shift your mindset and learn how to manage someone. Learn how to actually have help. Now, the agent that is sitting there that needs sales, this is hard, Daryl. And I know you know how to solve this, but there's only one bit of advice for these guys. For 90 days, you do not attend a meeting. You don't fricking do social. You do 0 except 3 activities. One, you ask someone if they need to buy and sell a house, whether it's family, strangers, other agents. You start asking that question at least 10 times a day. The second thing you do is you obsess on creating action promises because here's the thing. It's not just the ask. The ask needs to lead to an action promise, which is leading to a follow-up. So the action promise is, hey, I'll set up a search or I'll pick up your dry cleaning. I don't care what it is. It's the one step that leads to the relationship. So, and it also says if you promise something and you come through with it, it's the first step in credibility. So you're going to be asking people for business. You're going to also be action promising anything you can do to get them to do the second meeting, which is now going to be you following up. And then the follow-up needs to be creative. It's got to be video messages. It's got to be audio messages. It's got to be thinking of you messages, not like, hey, do you want to buy and sell every single time? But here's the issue. Here's the issue. That agent who doesn't have enough sales right now, that agent is simply not doing enough. It's just very basic. And they're doing like dumb things. I'm going to tell someone about the market online. You're not going to get a sale for 18 months and you got to do that for like wild amount of time to get any traction online. But if you talk to 300 people, 900 follow-ups in 90 days, I guarantee you'll launch your career again. When I was starting out, all I did was that I did it in all these industries. The reason why I was rookie of the year, I think I was like 80 sales my first year. The reason I did that is because I cut out every single thing that was a distraction from asking, action promise, and follow-up. So we have a pretty insane program that we launched called Real Estate Rocket Fuel. And Daryl, I built programs before to launch agents. I think it's the holy grail. Every single place needs someone to launch an agent, and they just don't. So the first few years ago, I built the program and it's called Real Estate Rocket Fuel. And I thought, well, no one's going to do what I did. So I toned it down a little bit, Daryl, and I got half-assed results. I got so sick of it because so I partnered with a guy it was in my world. He did 50 sales in his first year. And I sat down and I said, let's lock ourselves in a hotel room and we're going to build the business that's so freaking hard to sell, but it's the one that works. And so, Daryl, we just launched the new version of this and we turned away almost everybody. We landed 16 people that were crazy enough. Every day they're doing talking to strangers. Like just what I did. I talked to police at the second cup. I'm like, yo, do you need some houses? I'm that guy. But you can do it in a way that's not sleazy or old school. And so we teach that. And so we have like almost in 60 days, almost 100K in their pipelines already, but it's hard as freaking hell. And so we literally don't actually promote the program. We literally be like, you're not going to do it. It's too crazy. We push people away until they're like, no, 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 I'll do it. Well, maybe like it's one of the, because we decided what a waste of time because everyone takes this $300 a month program and try to get going. And it's like, no one ever gets going. And I'm like, oh, so you didn't do enough and you too much distraction. So long answer is there's the two things. Busy, you hire. If you need sales, you go 90 days lights out on those three activities.
I tell them every day, go ask somebody, talk to everybody. So, like I said, that
That's missing.
a lazy river, just talking to people everywhere I go. Doesn't matter. Talk to everybody. So, time, you talked about getting back time. I just said this to these guys earlier. Time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, and too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, time is eternity. And one of the things that I guess what you did is you got your time back with your family, your son, and now the people you coach. So it's so important that you can share that love and capabilities that people can learn and grow from, because we don't live in a rocket scientific business. We live in a people business. Being able to collaborate, to be able to share some wisdom, to help them out with some problems that they may have. And as you mentioned, you couldn't just answer that question that I answered because for each individual, it's individually tailored to each person, right? So that's so accurate. I love that about you. And that's what I really resonated with you, that one shoe doesn't fit all. And, I'm going to be going down to Mike Ferry for his 50th anniversary next month. And Mike is a heavy prospector. And I learned from that. But, then I started getting different coaches along life because different people will do different things. And it's finding out what resonates for you and doing the best you can at that. I love that 90-day thing, the 90-day challenge. Just do this. It's simple. It's
so simple and so hard.
And if you do it, you'll succeed, right? So I know you have a class on Thursday. I know I signed up to it. I had an appointment with one of my clients the other day, so I still intend to be there. But you can tell us about that later. But
sure,
I think everybody should be there. So you built your business by design. What does that mean for you? And how can agents start doing the same?
Yeah, I love that. That's my whole world. My whole
I
thing
love
is,
that about you.
yeah,
That's
build.
why we're here.
You know what? Like when I was, let me tell you what I did first wrong, and then I'll tell you why I fixed it. Is being a boy that had attention from his father, who wasn't the nicest guy, but when I worked hard, he loved me. And so that was a huge driver. And then the other part was because then I felt like that self-acceptance when I work hard. And then when I win, you get attention. So as a child, I think our backstories matter a lot. So that was driving me. Plus, I knew I was entrepreneurial and I knew I want to make a shit ton of money. And so that was the beginning. So I came to in my 20s, my grading of success was always about being number one. If I wasn't number one, I was nothing. And that was a childhood trauma response, which I'm well aware of now. The second thing was when I made money, I felt like that was happiness. So what I did was I went psycho all in and I made a ton of money. Built a real estate investment company. I sold anywhere I was. I was number one and I was one. So on paper, on Instagram, looks amazing, right? That led me to almost my entire family breaking up. My wife sitting down with me one day saying, I want to leave you, but I love you. Well, that's confusing. It's because she goes, I'm done chasing you. And what happened was I wasn't listening to my wife because I was so obsessed with success that I thought I was there, but I wasn't present. I was edgy, angry. I wasn't a good person to be around all the time because the pressure that I was under. But frick, everyone thought I was winning because I was on paper, because I graded my success on being high level number one and how much money I could make. So this was caused me a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And so I changed everything. I reconnected with my wife, my kids. I stopped my YouTube channel in 2010, never did pick it back up. And everything changed. And I started asking myself, what do I want? See, every business planning course you ever take will say, how much money do you want to make? And they miss the most important question. Why do you want to make that money? And I think about it, and I think these poor agents that say, I want to make $500,000. Let's just say, fair enough. That's not even that hard in Toronto. And if you look at that, but what if your dream life was 400 grand and your goal was five or 600,000? My question is, there's a cost to the misaligned goal because that extra 100 to 200 will cost you in all the other areas of your business. I learned that very, very strongly. So I built my entire coaching business. Everything I ever do is on four things. Is build a life you love, which here's the thing. Love who you are, love where you live, love what you do, and love who you're with. This is 20 years of asking myself, or more than that now, what do I want? So who do I want in my life? Who do I want to be? What kind of work do I want to do? And where do I want to live? And these four areas are that. So if I was to say the biggest things is I don't judge my success on profit or finance. I judge my success on those four areas because being rich and sick, being rich and lonely, being rich and mentally fried. I promise you, I've worked with so many agents past that point of burnout and they've lost so much money from burnout. I remember one guy I was sitting down with and he was a coaching client of mine. He was an $800,000 agent out of Edmonton. And when we're kind of doing a business assessment, kind of seeing if there's a fit to come into the program, he says, what? I said, he goes, Ben, I just want my weekends back. I want some evenings back because I love my family. And he goes, I'm just getting so much work and I can't take care of it. I said, well, let me ask you something. If I could get you down from 800 to 600 a year, I said, but you get your weekends, evenings back. I said, what would you say? He goes, F Ben, I'd take 250 a year if I can have that back. And so then I said to him, I said, well, that's great because as a business coach, I just got $200,000 budget to solve that problem, my friend, and completely backwards from any other coach in the world never would have said that. They would have said, how do we get to 1 million? And I'm like, let's go down to 6 and buy your life back. So everything changed because the pain I went through from my childhood, my marriage, and all this. And now today, I don't give a shit about being number one. I don't care at all. I don't care. I just want to wake up happy. I want to wake up with peace of mind. I want to walk away. Right now, my company is running. I got multiple staff. We got coaching clients all over North America. It's the craziest thing. I'm just some street kid. And it's like, holy shit, I've already arrived. So I think the balance is that I have a crazy vision. Like my vision is massive where I want to go, but I'm also tethered that I've already won the game. I've already won. I don't need that big vision to come true because I've already won. I wake up in the morning with my wife and I have a good relationship. My kids are freaking into me and I changed the generational patterns of my Oosterveld line. That is a good way to die. I did it. It's changed. My kids are healthy. There's no abuse. They're all being successful, amazing emotional intelligence. And the wife is good. This changed everything. What more do I need to feel good? So I'm there, but holy shit, do I see the future. So there's this cool balance of seeing the future and tethering to where you've already won, that you don't need more. So that's the thing. So that's the whole thing about building a life you love. That's the model. So the last thing is you build your business around your life. You don't build your life around your business. That's the biggest change.
That must have been very tough for you growing up. That having such a tough childhood, as far as I'm concerned, that you had to be number one in everything. Because you look at any athlete, any business person, and trying to be number one, it is so much pressure. It is just overwhelming that people, it's like carrying apartment buildings. You see these apartment buildings behind me. That's like being on your shoulder because there's people that are taller, bigger, smarter, wealthier, and they may have more things than you have. What you have is this and what you can contribute work wise. So that is one, like, see, some things sometimes it's such a reward, but that could be his weakest point. So obviously he was driven like at a young age to be respected and felt important enough that he struggled, but he didn't struggle. He became the best at whatever he was doing, but it put a lot of stress on him in other areas. So there was no balance. Everything was here and nothing was here. So now he's balanced it out. He found out what can make him happy, how he can make other people happy, that he can have a happy life and not be challenged being number one. But he still has that vision to continue to grow and to teach others how to do it. And we have to go through a lot of adversity sometimes and troubles. It's like being in the forest. When you're deep in that forest, you can't see the clear picture. You've got to be able to step back and get that vision that you can see clearly. So what I'm understanding of Ben is now what he was doing to be number one, he's backed off and he's set it in a different direction. And his growth is still growing, and the people that are with him are still growing, but they got a life. And
And the truth is, Daryl, I make way more money and I'm way more successful. I'm way bigger and things are smoother than ever before. And so this is that's what I mean by working hard versus like setting that alignment first. When there's a non-negotiable, you just start behaving differently and you start leveraging, you start doing better decisions. And it's just like practically, if my life can't be messed around with, I'm going to have to build a business that's scaled. But if I'm willing to mess around with my kids' evenings and my wife's date nights and stuff, well, then I can work hard and get some more sales. But literally, just the model just has to be switched. It's just the model. We just have to build around the what you want versus get the money and figure it out later. That's the curse.
so you've gone through a lot, lots of big challenges. You think got things moving pretty good right now. So what would you say is your biggest mindset challenge that you're personally facing now that someone could learn from?
Sure. That's a great question. If I was to say what it would be is there's always a pull, okay? And I think a lot of agents relate to this. So there's a pull because I'm pretty dynamic and I'm good online, good on stage,
Good on stage.
strong.
I've seen you live. I loved it. Right.
And so I think you listen to Armozy, you listen to Gary V, and you see this model of becoming a big, big, big influencer, okay? And I'm like, I'm built for this shit. I can do this. But then you stop, and this is where I've learned my lesson. I know that it takes 18 hours a week because you got to script, you got to film, you got editing, you got to oversee your team. So I already know if I was to take that road, and this is what agents don't understand a lot of times, 18 hours. So then I look at this because it's going to take time. Like you need three, four, five amazing videos going out every week if it's really going to work the way our Mosey and all these big guys are playing. Like these guys spend millions on content creation and it freaking works from what? Attention. The thing is, though, so I get pulled into that because I'm really creative and I love that stuff. But then I have to stop myself and say, what could those 18 hours do to my business if I worked on some of my team mentorship, hiring another team, offering more value for my program, looking at onboarding and the sales process? What are we doing? Do we need to create? And I always, always have to go back to put 18 hours into building the business, serving your team, serving your clients. And so I get pulled both ways. I get pulled to build this massive brand, but when I really look at it, it doesn't do nothing compared to building out your business, putting in a new system. And like booking 10 keynote talks could probably be a lot more value than doing 10 posts. So I look at like the hour by hour, what has the highest leverage activity. For example, we'll bring it down to right to real estate agent. Hey, I want to build this and I want to do an event and I want to do this. Cool. Do you have your CRM organized? No, 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 but that's okay. So when you actually
Yeah.
have your marketing
Sure.
work and you don't have a CRM organized, this is you got to go to the CRM. Forget social media bullshit. Go get your CRM organized. So this is where our coaching lies going, where's the broken chain? So this is my struggle because I'm a creative. I have to stop creating so I can go work on that shit that just needs to be done. It's that junk drawer that we never clean. And the biggest companies, the $100 million companies, clean the junk drawers every day. And that's not what we do because we get chasing these cool, fancy, I'm going to be famous. What if famous works? Let's just imagine you finally get to that. You invest the time. 18 months later, you are the number one guy online in Toronto, and now you're getting 10 calls a day to list and 10 buyers. Can your infrastructure handle that? No. And that's why it breaks. So I have to sit back and be like, stop the social media. I got stop all this stuff because there's other things in my company that will break if the social media works. And so we got to get them infrastructure built, the systems built, and you can make a ton of money during that process. When that's running without you fully, Daryl, watch out because here I come. But it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. I still play with it. I still play with it. But that's probably the biggest challenge I'm always bringing back to cleaning junk drawers versus being famous.
So I always say that you can't build the tower on quicksand. Lots of
100%.
people, as you know, Ben, that they just want to be like number one, whatever, but they have no foundation. They just take shortcuts, the and they start to build it and then they break down and break down and break down. So they
Yeah.
got to here, but they can't sustain that level. You have to build on a foundation level, move another foundation, and keep moving.
And yeah, you think about concrete. I used to be a concrete finisher. When you lay concrete, you can drive a car on it within 2 days, but it's not set for 7. So when we think, oh, we got it figured out, nope. Because if you just roll with the system for a little longer, you need to break it a few times before it actually gets set. You got to test and try, break and fix. So concrete takes time. It's fill it up, wait, test it, okay, fix it, okay, next. And I think that people don't understand how long it actually takes.
Everything takes longer than we want it to.
100%.
And probably you and I both see that all the time. People don't have enough patience. They want something like this. People come to look for a job, they want to be the CEO. They don't want to
Yeah.
pay any dues going under. They just say, I went to university, I want to be the president, I want to be the CEO, whatever, but I don't want to pay any dues to get
Yeah.
there.
It's social media. Daryl, this is the guy I talked to. And I said, "Hey, how's your business?" He goes, "Well, I'm in trouble. I'm starting to drink, and I'm broke." I said, "What happened?" Because I knew this guy, and I'm like, "Man, you went down." He goes, "I tried to do trading, and I lost all my money." Daryl, you go start getting into TikTok and Instagram around traders. If you like, we look at this, every little kid is making billions. That's the story I see. Man, it's so crazy. I invested in one stock and I made $1 million. And it's like this guy got fooled that there was an easy way, and now he's broke and drinking today.
And in
This
debt.
is what agents, you see guys on agents, got another $1 million listing. They made $1 million, but it cost them 1 million. They're making zero. So why are we listening to these? Like we don't know the real truth. That's why chip away, take your time, takes way longer than you think. This microwave quick fix thing happening online is killing agents. Mentally, it's hard to be in this environment.
Not even agents, anyone in any business. Like
Anyone,
you
you're
got
right.
young people and they're on crypto or
Yeah,
Bitcoin, whatever it
yeah.
is. They do this, and this, and you'll be a billionaire. They're only
It's
trying to sell
crazy.
you stuff. That's how they're getting rich, right? They're
It's
selling
just
you the
not
magic
real.
pill.
They're just trying to get attention. That's their goal is more views, not anything else. And maybe there's one or two guys that did hit, got lucky. Of course, there's a lot of real guys, but same with any lucky. That's lottery.
Yes.
It takes work. It takes growing yourself, chip away, fix something, break it and fix it again, and break it and fix it again, and break it and fix it again. And guess what? You might actually build a business that's sustainable.
Learn from our mistakes if we learn from our mistakes, right?
Yeah.
We have to learn every day from a fear and a mistake, but learn from if you keep going back and doing the same mistake over and over and over and over again, you're not growing. So learn from your mistakes and grow from it, right?
Yeah.
So looking
100%.
back, and you've had a pretty illustrious different career and setbacks. So what would be that one mistake you made early on that ended up teaching you the most valuable lesson? Like I got
So
tidbits earlier, so it'd be hard to figure out one thing. There's many, but if there's
yeah,
just one thing that you can say,
I
I
think I think the answer would be is don't grow too fast. Because I grew and I can grow fast. So when I bought 41 properties in 14 months. No one told me about the administrative, the bookkeeping, the accounting, the communication with investors, the tenants. Like no one's actually looking at the delivering on the promise. And so I think the best advice is grow slow. Well, I need the money. No. You're going to always need the money if you think that way. So survive the growth period versus thinking of quick cash. So build that relationship and in 2 years they buy. But just go get 100 of those. And in 2 years, guess what? You've now make sure you have infrastructure to deliver. So my biggest mistake was trying to get because I could sell and I could grow. So this is an interesting dynamic, right? Most people don't get to that place where they grow really fast. Most people don't. I'm kind of an anomaly where I just went from 0 to 100 in every industry I've gone to. And what I've done in this coaching business that I have now is holy shit, I go slow. We pick every student to make sure there's a match. We turn away students. We have infrastructure. We know exactly how many students we can grow and still deliver value. We know exactly if I get this many, we're going to need to hire this person. It is it is building a real business, and I would say grow it slow, and I said, don't grow too fast because too fast, you're not prepared for the infrastructure. And then it breaks because you cannot deliver on what you promised. Even if you're a good person with great intentions and amazing service, it breaks. So that's the biggest mistake I made in the younger years of growing businesses. And if I could do one more, Daryl, if I could let me have one more mistake,
You will. You'll have many. This is
not focusing on one thing.
what's the one thing.
I am so creative. I shut down a $400,000 a year mastermind. Here, easiest money I could make. I take these guys, 10, 12 guys, mentor them for a year, one coaching call a month. And then I would take them on 3 different trips and do some personal growth retreat stuff, 400 grand a year. I shut it down completely. You know why? To focus on my company here.
Yeah.
And why would I do that? Why would I do that? It sounds insane, but I also paid $80,000 over 2 years for the highest level coaching and mentoring on how to scale a company as well at my level. And so I talked to them and they said, the guys that are making $100 million a year do one thing. And I'm like, but I had all these other things to create revenue and added value and all this stuff. So I took their advice. And over the last 5 years, I trimmed it right down. I do one thing. And within that one thing, Daryl, there's still 10 things. And that's what's crazy.
Harry Williams said that. Focus on that one thing.
Just one thing, which is real estate agents that are too busy, real estate agents that need sales. And it's like, that's it. Just focus on agents. That's we cut down everything. I got offers to speak at chiropractor stuff. I got coaching. Mortgage brokers want coaching. We've got anyone in the service industry. All of our stuff works because we're business. We're not just real estate. But we niched out in real estate. We niched out on helping people create businesses in real estate. Now we should be the only person in the country that does that. Everyone else is sales coaches, prospecting coaches, or even building teams. It's always sales focused, but I'm infrastructure, leadership, and systems focused. And so we've now found a niche that we help people build, turn their hustle into businesses and buy their time back versus just chasing money. So we're very narrow. That's what's helped our business grow very quickly because you know exactly what you get when you talk to us. And so that's the other thing. So having too many avenues of revenue, too many opportunities, and like a mortgage broker doing real estate, I just think it's insane. Like
Yes.
I think there's like you see what I mean? Like it doesn't
Total
work.
conflict. Total conflict. I had
It's
my
total conflict.
brokers. I was going to do both, and so I would get paid out on both ends. But
It
it's
seems like you'll make more money, you'll double dip, but it's you lose.
double conflict, right? It shouldn't even be legal because if
But even if you were like I know another guy that has a side business as an agent. And the guy's like, so when you're coaching me, what do you think about this other business? I said, first of all, you need to get rid of that thing or have someone else run it while you work with me. Because that's going to be a big distraction for success on both sides. Like it's just having that other couple things. Well, you just don't have the effort. So that's a mistake. I used to be split everywhere. And that was like, I went through the roof on money, success, time, freedom, everything when I really focused, which was so hard for me.
the two most important things, health and time.
That's it, man.
You have your health,
That's it.
you have your time, you can make money. But if you don't have your health, you
You
don't have
don't.
time. It doesn't matter what you got.
Totally, man. You just see that story. I talked to a lady. Sorry, I read a book called the Regrets of the Dying. It's a lady that was a hospice nurse, and she would be there while people died. And she always had she asked, "What's your regrets?" And she's asked this. So if you want to read the book, it's really interesting. And the regrets were I didn't live the life I wanted to live, and I didn't take the risks I wanted to take. And so I feel like it's just that you have a life and you know there's more. But the problem is when you're building a business where you're doing everything, you'll die never getting to experience what that true version of you would be at the highest level. And I think that everyone has that feeling.
So if you had to start your real estate business from scratch today, what would be your first few moves?
Sure. Yeah. So this is the number one strategy I would say is if I'm a new agent, I'm going to be not networking clients, I'll be networking other agents. So I would treat them in prospecting other agents, especially in your area, because Toronto's amazing for this. So I just know because I coach so many people that there's a lot of busy agents that are pure chaos. Probably some in the room today. And they're sitting there going, holy shit, I'm just trying to figure it out, stuck through the wall and just running around. They're making good money, but it's chaos. And to think about having a team stresses them out. You want to find that guy as a new agent. Walk up to them and say, hey, got a deal for you. I'm brand new, but I'm a hustler and I will chase deals. Even if you got shitty leads, I want them. I will take them. I will pay you 50%. And if they say no, I'll pay you 60%. They say no, I'll pay you 70%. Bribe them until they say yes. And then what you're going to do is take a deal or two. You can renegotiate that. And so when I started as an agent, I found an agent who was a friend of mine. I said, can I join your team? I said, I'm going to really do good at this business, but I don't even know how to open up a damn lockbox. So I said, I want to join your team just so I can get refreshed. But first of all, what I did do is I offered him 30 days of free work and I was a successful business coach and investor. And I said, I'll work for you for 30 days, whatever you want me to do. I'll put in signs. I'll pick up things because I need to learn all those things. And the fastest to learn is work for free. So I worked for 30 days for free for a top agent and I did anything he wanted. I was picking up signs I had no ego. Then I asked him once I kind of got going, I said, I want to join your team. I'll give you 50-50. He was, I got 3 other team members. I said, well, they're not going to be too happy because I'm going to close everything. I was cocky. And so I told him, I said, send me the 5 sales my first month. So I did not focus on a business card. I did not focus on a fucking website. 0 social media. 5 sales. Which one do you want? Do you want 5 sales or do you want to pick which headshot's going to be the best one? Like it's just a waste of time. It doesn't matter. So many people are like looking at image, social media presence, getting all that. Doesn't matter. I went, found the deal. The guy had excessive business. He threw me some deals and I got paid. That's how I started. That's why I did so many deals my first year. Then I would do the 90-day plan over and over again until I had traction. So asking, following up. And then here's the last thing I would do. I would hire an assistant before I needed one. I hired an assistant before I had a sale, guys. Why would you ever do that? You're looking through the real estate, what you've been taught about what real estate is. Forget real estate. Let's call it a business instead of that's a real, like we just have this weird dementia, weird twisted view of what this industry is. You're not a salesman and it's not a job, it's a business. So let's say this. I'm going to start a restaurant, guys. And we're not going to hire anyone until we make money. We're not going to hire anyone because there's no money yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cooking, the cleaning. I'll do the dishes in the evening. I'll do the marketing at 3 in the morning and then I'll open the thing. I'll host. Don't worry. Like it's just stupid. It doesn't make sense. So why are we doing that as agents? So I hired an assistant before I needed it. Guess what it cost me? $400 a month. I didn't have much work, but I had a part-time girl that could push my paperwork and do a couple of calls. It doesn't take much. And so, first of all, go market to other agents and bribe yourself into those deals. They're dying for a hungry agent to come take their lead gen that they're doing nothing with. They're dying to find someone that can close some deals, take care of things on holidays. That's the fastest way to money. The second way is 300 asks a month. You want to get crazy? 10 a day. If you ask 10 people for business a day, they will guarantee you'll be the richest top agent very quickly if you keep doing that long enough. But you can't do it long enough because you'll die at that level. So you have to do it until you almost die. Then you have the assistant to take care of shit because you're going to have to do it again while you're actually showing houses and while you're actually doing these things. That's the problem. You prospect, then you show houses, then you're broke again. Prospect, show houses. You don't want to do that. So you have to prospect all the way through your first 6 months while you're showing houses. That's why an assistant. Is that clear? I kind of went all over.
No, listen, I believe if you're not prospecting every day in one form or another, you're not going to last in any type of business, right? Everybody has to. Listen, your dentist is your best salesman on earth. You go to your dentist before you leave, they've already booked an appointment with you, right? So you ask, is the dentist a salesperson? Yeah. Because you leave their office 3 or 4 months later, they've got you booked in for another appointment. So you're not going to survive unless you got your next appointment booked. So
Yeah. Imagine if that dentist sent you cookies on your birthday. Boy,
yeah,
would that be different, right?
get
That's
your teeth, I
that's
mean,
the
you got
next step.
every 3 months to get your teeth fixed then.
Yeah, I'd be coming twice. I'd be paying them more money. And it's like, what if they sent me something for Christmas? What if they popped like what if like that's the aftercare system. So like you want to ask for business for people that actually have an emotional connection, your referrals go crazy.
So agents who felt like they hit a plateau, because lots of agents, especially when the market was so hot 3 years ago, they all went boom. It's just anybody could succeed.
Yeah.
Now the market did a
The
readjust.
Merc.
Still a great market. I would say every day is an opportunity. And as you said earlier, there's no better time to grow your business than right now. So for those agents who feel like they hit that plateau, what simple piece of advice would you give them to help them break through, go to that next level, or go back to that level?
So here's what I'd start with. I'd start with them a little different than other people. Obviously, work hard and ask for business, all that stuff's important, and time block and whatever, all that crap. I think I'd ask myself what I wanted and why am I here? Why am I here? Do I even want to be an agent? And what do I want? What do I really want? And if we can't align to that, well, then you're not going to have the motivation to go fix this problem. So if like, for example, if my kid was in danger, I'm very motivated. I want to help him.
Whatever it
So
is.
if you don't have an alignment to what you truly want, no matter what you do is going to be hard. So first of all, what do I want? And then, so because you can't be like, I want to make $1 million. Like you got to have some self-awareness. What do you actually want? The second thing is, um, if you have a base of clients and you need to restart, I'm going right to my base. I'm not going cold marketing at all. I would be spending every day talking to every single client I ever have and reconnecting with them. I would do a re-engagement campaign. There's some strategies around it. I won't share all the tactics because there's some really cool ones. But worst case scenario, every day you talk to your clients, past clients, and tell them the truth. You know what we always do? Oh, Daryl, I'm doing great. Yeah, just plugging away, doing great. So guess what? What if I said, hey, Daryl, I'm really struggling right now. Um, to be honest with you, yeah, it's a little bit slow this year. I'm wondering if there's any way you can help me. Well, then that's what we're missing is let go of the ego, call all your clients and tell them you're struggling, but don't be like, oh, it's so bad. That's not good. Be like, yeah, it's been actually a bit of a tougher year. I'm just looking to see if you know anyone buying or selling. That ask is honest. Or you can just use your ego. Yeah, it's been good. It's not as good as last year, but it's been really good still. Cool, awesome. Doesn't need my help. Great, good luck. That's the first thing.
Transparency,
The
right?
second, so what do you want? And if you have a base, I'm going after my base and telling the truth. If I don't have a base yet, I go back to the 90 day and I would go crazy. I would push everything I got in solving that problem. I'll give you an example. I had one of my main coaches quit a few years ago, and she had like 50 students, like way too many for one coach. Lesson learned. So I went batshit crazy solving that one problem. I ended up hiring 4 coaches. We rebuilt our entire communication structure we hired someone to be a liaison between the coaching students and their coach. We took away some of the things. We rebuilt I went crazy. 90 days solved. Boom, we grew. So whatever happens, if there's a problem, I would put every single waking bit of my energy to solve that problem because rip the frickin' band-aid off, get it done. This long, oh, well, a couple weeks I'll deal with it. That's the problem. Smash it.
Well, as you and I both know, something as an anthill, if you continue to let it grow, every day it goes like this. It's
Yeah.
bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and more problems pile up and more problems pile up, and you have nothing solved. Solve that
Yeah.
problem, fix it, move on to the next one. Because in
Yeah.
life, there's always going to be a problem. You need to be the solution finder and to fix it and to move forward. So we
Yeah.
come up to the hour. I don't know if you got time, Ben, to for any questions. I mean, I can't believe the
Sure.
hour went by so fast. I mean, I could sit here and talk for another hour with you. And I'm sure the audience could also. But
I can take a few questions, no problem. We got a meeting at 11. I got to prep for that. Other than that, we're here to serve.
all right. So who's got a question here that's live with us right now that'd like to come up here and ask Ben or myself a question. Come on, you shy people. Alvin, come on up here. You're a big producer. What do you find? So here's Alvin. Alvin used to work at a bank and he was very regimented. It was like, he had a 15-minute break, he had a 45-minute lunch, and there was
Lots of structure. Yeah.
right. So now he's come into real estate. I think he's been with me 16 years. He's got the most infectious smile, and most of his business is built on referral business because he's such a personable person that we just went to his wedding last year and it was like incredible. So many people,
Amazing.
smiling faces. But he goes like this. He goes real hot, and then he just sort of goes like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it's like a hockey player, a baseball player. You go in streaks, you're scoring like crazy, you're putting baskets in like crazy, and then you've got that cold spell. I always try and keep it between the lines. Don't get too high and don't get too low. So what would be your advice to my good friend Alvin there, who's smiling?
Is he on? Can we talk to him?
Alvin, come over here. Come up to the mic. I love
Alvin, you're getting called out, Alvin.
He was our top agent last year, and we all love him, right? He's like my Asian son. I love Asians, and he's like
amazing.
My son, right? Look at that infectious smile, right? Say hi, Bob. Ben.
Hello. Hey, Ben.
Hey, how's it going, Alvin?
Good.
Pull the mic up for you. It pulls up.
Can I drill you with a few questions?
You want to come right over here?
No.
I got your voice.
Okay.
Yeah, like Daryl
said that, like I have streaks. Like I'll do a bunch of deals at one time and then I'll stop doing deals. Like, what would you recommend that I do to keep it more consistent?
So I have to learn something about you first. Remember, context matters. So here's the thing. Let me ask you, do you have an assistant?
No.
There's your problem. Second thing is, because you can't do it all. Like you're a business, you're a restaurant owner that's doing dishes. It's fact. So you have to learn how to hire and outsource these things. You got to be a better delegator because you get tired, dude. Because when you got to prospect, you got to show buyers, you got to show sellers, you got to deal with education, you got to deal with marketing, branding, aftercare. Like it's insanity to think to do it all yourself. Yes. And so of course, you're going to go down. So what happens is that you don't build out your infrastructure. What's going to happen is you're just going to leave hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. So it's millions of dollars that you're losing over the whole year of your career because we don't build out that infrastructure to take care of you. So you don't get too tired. You just need to do people first stuff. Sounds like you're an amazing guy. I can tell right away after Daryl, and you're even hearing your energy in your phone on the call here. But at the end of the day, it's just because the industry hasn't given you that solution. Everyone has told you to sell more, service more, client experience, be on call, and that works until it breaks. And when it breaks, you dip.
Okay. No, that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great answer because it's like you run full tilt and your energy level it just crashes. And that's what I've always sort of tried to tell him, that part of it, because you think he's disappeared and then you go boom, boom, boom. And then, a lot of agents do that. They make too much money and they're just too busy celebrating. But I think in reality, he's so burnt out because he's gone so hard that
it's an energy issue.
Time to go rejuice up his energy.
And then it comes to this though. Then what happens is we have 100 questions like this, and we're too busy to solve them. And they say, you know what? How do I coach? How do I hire someone? How much is it going to be? How many hours do I do? So all of those things, that's what we do in coaching, Daryl. We're like, here's how you do it. Here's the ad. We literally hand all the systems to all of our people because busy agents don't have time to build them. So we literally go here. And then what else do we do, Daryl? We coach the assistant to become their delegator. You know why? Because no one's going to do a good job managing, hiring, and everything because we're 20 years ahead of that. So we figured we'll just do some of this stuff for them, get that implementer put in place, coach the implementer, train the implementer, and then guess what happens? The business gets all their stuff put together, and then that agent gets to do the people stuff. And so we kind of bridge that gap, helping them put that person in place. And because all of the friction of how to do it is really real, because when we think of hiring, we think of an executive assistant at 60 grand a year, but we think that's completely wrong. And what you can have is an assistant for $1,000. I don't know what he makes. If he's your top guy, he can afford 12 grand a year.
Absolutely.
Have an assistant, which will stop the dip, which will make him 200 grand. And tired and holidays, all this can happen. It's like, it's just this, we're on a mission, Daryl, to shift that thinking worldwide. Like, this is the biggest issue in real estate. The biggest one is that we don't look at it as a business and we just work our whole career grinding our face off, going ups and downs. And since you make good money, you don't actually feel the pain of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that could have been in an investment account, that could have been in another property, could have been another holiday. Like, we don't feel the pain of it because we never had it. We only feel the pain when we actually lose a listing. And so we focus on not having that happen.
I learned at a very, very young career. I think me and Greg Proctor were the very first two people to have teams in North America, going back almost 30 years ago, because I'm not the best at paperwork. I'm great at visions, doing things, but just doing the paperwork and that is like,
Yeah, me too, Daryl. Me too. But the best agents are usually bad at paperwork.
right?
Daryl, is it okay if there's just a small handful of people, but for your people, if you want, you can offer a 20-minute. We can look at their business, have a quick, just like we did with Alvin there, to really identify. And so we do this, and so we're not a company that you'll not see us out there selling, hard selling or anything. We just serve. And when time comes and when there's a fit for someone, it's a very easy relationship. We get together and we coach. So we do not chase people, but I just want you to know that if you want, we can slap a link in and it can be a 20-minute review. And if there's anything that, no matter what, you're going to get some value out of that. That's something I can give you guys today.
How's that sound, guys? Woo! I told you guys are going to love Ben. Listen, I love your energy. I like how you think out of the box and you're down to earth, right? Because
Yeah.
what happens to a lot of coaches, and I've seen this over the years, like I know almost every coach there is on the planet. Some of them didn't do much, and then their egos got too big on coaching. And the same as age, it's no different. In business, it's no different. Sports, no different. That our egos get in the way. I always say, stay humble. No matter where you are in life, remember where you began and stay humble, because it's so important. Your humbleness can help you survive in today's business. Lots of people I see struggle out there, and they think they know it all, but inside they got so many other struggles and other things that you don't really see. So I always believe, and that's why I say I always focus, we're not number one, we're number two. Our clients are always going to be number one.
Nice.
And if we can focus on our growth every day, if we can just grow in some small little way, that's why I love doing sharing the mindsets, Ben, because I get incredible people like you come on and share their wisdom, and you don't hold anything back. You just open arms. You tell us about your hardships that you went through. And, it's not easy to say, yeah, I sat in a drug rehabilitation for 365 days and I had family problems. Not everybody wants to share that dirty laundry. But as you open up to some of the problems that you had and you faced, that some of the things that other people are facing, their problems are really nothing, right? I watch a lot of motivational things and I see, this person, he's very wealthy, and a homeless guy is saying how lucky he is because of this and that. And everybody's feeling how blessed they are. Be blessed for what you have. Be blessed for the opportunities that you do have. And think of the countless times that other people, they're not waking up tomorrow. We've got people suffering from cancer, from other things, people getting in accidents. They're not fortunate enough to survive another day. So live every day like it's your last. Feel blessed and feel grateful for every moment you have and for every chance you have an opportunity. People need our work. And, salespeople or lawyers and that can all have a bad rap. But if you think the way Ben does and think of being outside the box, then treating others, and that's why I always had a program, Ben. I have it from my late father, who just celebrated his anniversary 2 days ago when he passed away. I did a thing for a gala for, people suffering mindsets and stuff like that. And all the politicians. It was a great event, but it's being able to care for others and to give back, treat people like family. And like I said, the CEO, the janitor, and everybody in between, just give it your all. And what you were saying to everybody, like for 90 days, it's not intrusive. It's just going asking if they need your help. It's a simple thing. Keep it simple. and keep it real, keep it with your heart, right? Because I always teach everybody that have compassion and come from your heart and be transparent. You'll never get in trouble. So Ben, I was so happy I got to meet you live. I'm so happy that the people that are here today are now getting introduced to your world, because I think they're going to be better for it. And that's what this industry needs, is better leaders and coaches to help people, to help other people, right? We don't want war. We want world peace. We want world love. And
100%.
being able to touch one person, and that person touches one person, that person touches one person. We all become better because of it. So I get choked up in these moments because I'm an emotional type of person, and I'm like you. I could go sleep out in the road, no problem, right?
Man.
I slept in staircase. I slept in cars.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But that was a learning growth, right? Going through bullshit, learning growth.
Daryl, do you believe I believe in a gut tingle sometimes. I'm wondering if anyone's on the Zoom call that wants to ask a question, just a gut. I might be completely wrong, but sometimes I like to feel a gut tingle.
There, come.
Anyone.
Is there some things seen some pop up? Do you know where they are?
That link, by the way, the link is in our chat there. My team just threw it in there if you want a review of your business, 20-minute review. But is there anyone on the Zoom call that
right
has
here,
a question
right now?
that's right here?
Yeah.
Got someone? Okay.
We're gonna, go ahead.
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Who you are?
I'm Joanna.
Hi, Joanna.
Thank you for the coaching. It's really nice, interesting. So my question is, what? Like I'm the avatar. I'm with the avatar that needs more sales. So what's the biggest mistake you see the agents making that your system can help fix?
He's going to say it's the individual. He's not going to say the agent.
So I'll tell you a story. We just got
that needs more sales.
I think it's, by the way, you're at the hardest avatar. I just want you to know that, okay? I want you to know that when you look around and see people making sales and stuff, don't compare yourself, because what you're facing is extremely hard, okay? I want you to recognize that in yourself. I should be able to do this. I should be able to. No, it's hard. I want you to know that, okay? It's very hard. And the second thing is, I just know that what we're seeing in our world and our rocket fuel stuff is the most like we're seeing confidence get built. It's a side effect we're realizing. And I think that's where I think the real results we're seeing is, because what happens is you get over the fear of asking, by actually asking. And so I've given you enough advice to solve your problem, and you have enough knowledge to solve your problem. It's internal. So the best advice I can give you, if we never talk again, is to risk and be okay with looking stupid. Look stupid. Be embarrassed, and learn how to feel embarrassed, learn how to feel bad, and still move forward. You'll beat everybody. What do you think of that?
I love that. I think that answer suits me very well. I can feel even the fear standing here asking you a question. So you feel
lean into it, do it with fear, and that's what changes everyone. Everyone's so scared to feel bad. Just feel bad and go do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
About Ben, he sat there and shared with all of us, he spent 365 days, not a week, 365 days in rehabilitation. Guys, that's a whole year out of his life. If you guys have ever seen a rehabilitation thing or any jail or anything like that, it's a hard place to be. Pretty harder than most people will ever face. But to share that with us, with everybody that's here and probably other people elsewhere, if he can be so transparent, the more transparent you can be with yourself and have that vision and throw out there, you have the biggest chance of having the biggest breakthrough, bar none. And that's why I tell people sometimes, say what your goal is. Tell what's important to you, because you're going to have other people are going through the same problem and same issue you are. They're going to have the same breakthroughs. That's why the question period to me is sometimes the most important. Ben has had so much knowledge that he shared here today. I can hardly bear out and go out and share to so many other people out there that were here and that were not here. But it's the golden nuggets you get in the back door by asking questions. That's why. So I applaud you and anyone else that came up here before to ask that question, because that's where you're going to have the biggest growth. Remember, I used to sit in the front row. I always had the most questions. It didn't matter. Here I'm the biggest producer, but I always had the biggest questions because I didn't care if I made a fool of myself. It's not about being a fool. If I don't know, I don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And we all have struggles. And the only way you're going to help that's an amazing coach. He may not have the perfect answer right now, but he'll have something that can help you on the guidance. And he's now offering us, take us to another area. Like we're going to get a 20-minute call. If you miss that opportunity, who's that blame on? Only to the person that's here. He's given that opportunity. So I applaud Ben for that. He doesn't have to do that, but he's kind enough and nice enough to do that. So hopefully just standing up and, sometimes, very pretty lady, Spanish, whatever, very bubbly. Sometimes the pretty ones, whether it be male, female, whatever, they cannot make themselves like, oh, I can't ask that question. But the fact that you can come up forward and break out of that shell is amazing. It's a step towards your growth. It really is. Good job.
Yeah.
Great job.
Who's got a question? Online or here? Throw it on the chat if you're not here. There's lots of you guys online that could throw it out there. Irene, you got a question? Come on. Irene, you're Irene. Come and ask a question. Come up here. Oh, look at this bubbly person. There's another lady I love. Ask us a question. The Ben and I a question.
No, I don't have.
You got a question.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of things you want to learn. Here's an opportunity to have an amazing.
How about we change? Let's change the direction. Say, where are you stuck? What or if there was a magic wand and you could change something today, what would it be?
Oh, I start. For me, I think important is improve my follow-up. Follow-up, yeah, and my awareness. Yeah.
I bet you that's not only your problem. I can guarantee it's 90% of the population that does sale is their problem, is their follow-up.
Yeah,
right?
it's a
So
way.
you're just expressing that your follow-up is not as strong as you'd like it to be. But I can guarantee everybody in this room and everybody online could be 100 times better with their follow-up. Right? So what would you say to her, Ben, to help her out? What is your problem with your follow-up? Why don't you do your follow-up? Irene?
So,
go ahead, Ben. You asked it.
So I think this. There's a few things with follow-up. I think it's real when we say, "Hey, you want to buy and sell?" as a follow-up. That's a really hard call to make. And I think it's the style we're not taught how to do follow-up. We're taught to follow up. So the industry kind of lets everyone down because it's not giving you tools to actually how to follow up. So when do you do it? When do you do follow-up? How do you do it? And so the other part is if follow-up is all on your shoulders, okay, you have no systems in place to nurture leads and nurture follow-up, then every single thing falls on your shoulders. Of course, you're going to fail. And then when you do it, you're not going to get creative. It's going to be a to-do list. Yep, did 10 follow-ups, but they were shit follow-ups. They weren't good follow-ups. I think we should change the word. And I think, Daryl, you saw me talk about this at our event. Change the word from follow-up to insulate. Because follow-up has an energy to it. How do we insulate that relationship? Keep it warm. Well, how about I say, hey, Daryl, just want to give a little follow-up, say, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on a podcast. There's a follow-up. How about a little voice message? How about, hey, just make, if it's a buyer, hey, did you see that property come up? Hey, if it's a listing client, it's like, hey, look, there's a property in your area. Do you want to go see it? Like, don't just say, got to do follow-up in your mind. Think about the creative way to follow up, which got high value. And I think that's what we need to start working on instead of got to do a follow-up, go to a follow-up. The reason why we don't follow up because it sucks. And we don't do things that suck. If you can make it fun, like if you did video messages to people, man, that's 10 times better follow-up. Audio messages, Find a reason to call them. Don't just be like, you're looking to buy still. Just following up with you. Well, now you're a salesman. No one wants to be a salesman. So I think you got to have the higher quality follow-up and change the word from follow-up to insulate. But give a reason to like I'd rather you, instead of saying, how do I follow up? That's the wrong problem to solve. Solve the problem of how can I make my follow-up incredibly great? And then write down every single thing you could think of regarding follow-up. So there's a open house follow-up. What are all the different ways you could do it for open house? There's a sign call. What are all the different ways to do? A listing, a post listing follow-up. There, like if you list it all and then you build out kind of some creative ideas on how to follow up, you will never stop following up. The last thing is though, if it's still on your shoulders, it still breaks. So you need aftercare systems to follow up. You need actual systems, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a quarterly show that you put on Zoom, just like Daryl, that says we're going to interview industry experts, and then you can follow up with all of your leads and say, hey, I've got an expert mortgage broker coming on. Do you want to come? Come up with creative ways to follow up versus how to follow up. And don't leave it all on your own shoulders because that does fail.
Wow, so nice.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Give me a way. Yeah. A to-do list is a better way, like you do, and also give you idea.
Come up to the mic a bit. Let them hear.
Yes, very good.
Like imagine this. I send a text to my wife and says, happy birthday. Or I send her a flower a day for 10 days before her birthday or 12 days. And by her birthday, she's got a dozen roses. Which one works better? So become masterful at follow-up, masterful at human connection. And I think we can do it brute force. 1,000 follow-ups, got me a sale. I don't like that. I want 10 follow-ups and 8 sales. So that means the quality and connection just has to be way higher value than the pure brute force of follow-up. Old school is brute force, and that was me for a long time. And it works. So if you got to brute force it, at least you do that. But as you brute force it, as you're doing those calls and you're feeling like there should be something better, make it better. Just make it better.
Yes.
Collaboration. Shower with love. Shower them with things that you can be helpful to them. Right?
Yeah.
Because if
Really
they came
helpful.
to your open house, let's say they just came to your open house. I'm just following up. You're at the open house. Oh, I didn't get a chance. We were busy, whatever. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are, what's important to them. Right?
Yeah.
Get into that. What's important to them? What are they looking for? They may be into that house. They may not. But if you don't ask the questions in a nice way, you'll never find out.
Yeah.
I tell you, 90% of failure is through follow-up. They don't follow up. They can get the lead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how did you say it? I like that.
I really like
No,
that.
what he just said. What did you tell me to do that time? Not follow up,
Insulate.
insulate, right? It's a new word, right?
Yeah.
It's follow up, but you're insulating,
But you're keeping them warm. It's keeping them nice and warm.
right? Keeping that dialogue, keeping that, it's like courting, right? People, listen, you don't have to be the best salesperson. You just have to be the best courter, right? People will do business with people they enjoy to be with. Listen, I met Ben. I loved him. I made sure he was on our show, right? He inspired me. I want him to inspire you. So if you can inspire somebody, look at, I met those people last night, my past clients. They'll be talking about so they've got, because they were saying last night, he's the best. He was amazing. They were doing a testimonial in front of their family to me. And that was a couple of years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I left an impact for them that to remember it. Be an impact that people remember you by. Right? That's important, guys. Always leave that. If you walk in the sand, you leave that impact. Right? It's so important. Don't be a salesperson. As he'll tell you, Ben will tell you, salespeople are dead.
Silver.
Yeah. But having relationships, that's what's more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking for what's important for them. Looking for the,
Exactly.
yes, it's good.
I got to, Naveen, come over here. Give her a hand.
Be the last one for me because then I got to get to another meeting. I got one more.
Hi, my name is Naveen.
Naveen's
I
one of
mean,
sisters also.
Thank
She's a
you.
wonderful, wonderful lady. And she's went through her own challenges, Ben. She's had some
mm,
major challenges. And I'll tell you,
amazing,
she's come back in a big way.
Thank you.
amazing.
First, I want to admire what you told us about that you were working about like machine before until your wife came to you and she said she want divorce and you this changed all your way to work. It really touched my heart because most of the other coaches they just teach us to work as money machine, regardless what's the family, what's our caring
Yeah,
about ourselves, our spouse, they don't care. They just
yeah.
teach us to work as money machines. So I really liked what you said about that. It touched my heart.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Second thing, I have two questions.
Sure.
First thing, I'm stuck in my business that I have a good relationship with my sphere of influence, my database, and this is my main source of business,
Yeah,
previous clients or database or referrals. But I'm stuck that when I deal with brand new person that I don't know, I
yeah.
got it from open house leads, from the office, whatever. I am not good at that point at all because they don't know me, I don't know them.
Yeah.
I feel difficulty to start a relationship with them. This is my first question. My second question, you advise us to hire like part-time assistant. If this assistant is not licensed as a realtor, how he or she will help us? Because most of the areas that I need help, showings, writing offers, stuff related to real estate. So how the assistant will help me in that kind of things?
So I don't believe the assistant should do anything to do with sales because the best assistant in the world is incredible at paperwork and organization and taking care of you and submitting paperwork, writing things. They're incredible. It sounds like I don't know where you're at, but definitely the assistant needs to be put in place. I don't actually do hired. I don't do licensed assistants. I rarely, like almost never hire licensed assistants. There are so many great people that are looking for 3, 4 hours a day. Tons of them. Tons of people work for 25 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour. And the thing is, when you're like, what are they going to do? Then I have to say, we need to look at your systems. And if you don't have systems, we need to look at why and like, is there something going on every month? Like is there aftercare system? So it's almost like the assistant is there to run your business. And if you're only focused on sales, then you're going to try to get them to do sales, but that's going to create more of a problem. So let me just say one thing. When people build teams, they do it all backwards and they're taught to do it backwards. Because when you're busy, you think, let's hire a buyer's agent, right? That's the worst advice that's ever been given because you already are busy. Now you become a manager, a trainer, and you're now going to have double the paperwork and double the business. You're literally in a more busy spot if that buyer's agent works. What you need to do is build an infrastructure, which is systems. So your operational systems from the day you meet a client to the day you give keys, there's systems within there. Your assistant runs all of those. They can even prep all your offers. They can load all your listings. Everything can be done unlicensed. You just finish it. So now we've got about 80% of the work done. And then the person that takes care of the after the sales systems. So what happens from the gift to the 90-day touch to the 6-month touch to the monthly touch? And this is the nurturing system. This is what assistants do. Does that give you some value there?
Yes, it does. But
It's
I don't
it's
know.
hard because it's like a deeper question digging right into your stuff. You know what I mean?
The second
But
question that I already asked about, I'm stuck to have a business with brand new people.
yeah, so that's going to be an internal game for you, in my opinion. If you believe that every time you meet a stranger, they're going to love you, you would treat them differently. But if you think every time they're not going to like you come at a different energy. So it's an internal thing. When you meet someone, the only mission I have is to find a connection. That's it. Like, how are you doing? Where are you from? What's your favorite food? Awesome. Are you shopping because you're moving from another province? Oh, cool. What province? Oh, cool. Did you do some traveling? You're looking for connection during those times. All that matters is that it's like my wife. She just wanted to be seen and heard. So when you come into a showing or a thing and you're like, it's got 3 bedrooms upstairs if you need anything, now you're a hostess, but there's no connection. So I'd ask them questions to try to connect very casually. And then when you find that connection point, then you got a chance. Because once they like you a little bit, then you can say, yeah, if you want, I've got a couple houses I can show you. I've got some down the street, or I can set you up on a search. I'm not sure if you need any help. But what I don't do is just go talk about real estate. And so if you're just talking about the house and asking them about house questions, that's important. But if you got to get to the place where I call the glue, where let's imagine that you find out, like, let's imagine you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and they're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And I already know I'm probably choosing a bad example, but it's at least something, because Toronto Maple Leafs fans will band together. What if you like sewing and you find out they like sewing? What happens is once you have something in connection, it gives an opportunity to say, oh, maybe you understand me in the sewing area or in the hockey area. So you're all people want is to be seen and heard. And so that's the single message when I meet any single person. And then the last thing I'll say is this: in your brain, don't ever chase the sale, chase the referral. So they'll leave that open house and you've made an impact on them so much that they're going to tell their friends. So that's my singular goal. Then I don't chase sales. I don't. I chase the referral. Like maybe you guys know someone that needs some help coaching. Guess what? I'm not chasing any sales, but guess what? If you meet me and we connect and maybe there's someone you can refer, great. I'll chase the referral all day and I'll never sell. I just chase referrals. So that's my mindset in when I meet new people.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just got a note from my team here. Ben, we got to go.
All right, guys, I want to close this out. This is Sharing with Mindsets with Daryl King. I want to really, Ben has given it his all today, and I'll tell you, it's a good thing someone is not coming on right after you, Ben, because they'd have a hard act to follow. I mean, everybody's going to have this video that they can watch and share. You can share it with your friends and stuff like that. But I want to thank you, Ben. You're amazing. And I know we resonated quite a bit. And I know our journeys have just begun together, and we're going to grow a lot together in the future. And I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of my team members are going to come along with us. And, that's their choice. But again, this is Daryl King, sharing of the mindsets. Let's all give a big hand for Ben for being here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Right. And to everybody that was here in the audience and elsewhere, we want to thank you for sharing your valuable time into being here. We'll make sure you get a copy of this and look for our next episode of Sharing with the Mindset with Daryl King. We'll be announcing it probably early next week. So everybody take care, be safe, all the best, and world peace. God bless.
Thank you. See you guys.